Albus Dumbledore is the most dangerous man in the Harry Potter universe, far more dangerous than Voldemort could ever be. We've been told he's a kind mentor, but the truth is much darker. He spent 17 years grooming a child to become a weapon designed to destroy itself at exactly the right time. It started on a freezing November night in Little Whinging. Dumbledore left a 15-month-old orphan on the Dursleys' doorstep with nothing but a letter. He didn't just find Harry a temporary home. He intentionally placed him in an environment where he would be hated, locked in a cupboard, and starved of affection. Why? Because a child who is never loved is the easiest to manipulate. He knew that Harry would eventually sacrifice his life for the first person who showed him a glimpse of kindness. This wasn't guidance, it was cold-blooded strategy. Even Severus Snape, the man who spent years doing Dumbledore's dirty work, finally snapped. He realized the horrifying truth we all chose to ignore. You've raised him like a pig for slaughter. Today, we are deconstructing Dumbledore's entire master plan, from that first night on the Dursleys' doorstep to the final sacrifice in the Forbidden Forest. And I will show you one specific detail in Dumbledore's will that proves Harry was never intended to survive the final battle. It's time to see Albus Dumbledore for who he really was. Let's start with the most subtle manipulation of the first year, the Mirror of Erised. 11-year-old Harry, who never knew his parents, finds an artifact that shows him his deepest desire. He spends 3 nights there, slowly losing his mind and addicted to the vision. And where is Dumbledore? He didn't just happen to walk in on the final night. He was there from the start. For 3 nights, he stood in the shadows under an invisibility cloak, watching a child cry in front of a mirror. Why? He was studying Harry. He was watching how easily the boy could be manipulated through his loss. Dumbledore waited until Harry was at his most vulnerable before stepping out to offer his wisdom.
Not to go looking for it again. Does not do to dwell on dreams, Harry.
This was a masterclass in establishing a bond of trust. He became the only adult who shared Harry's deepest pain. From that night on, Harry was subconsciously wired to seek Dumbledore's approval. The headmaster didn't just give advice, he built the foundation for lifelong blind loyalty. And now, look at the protections for the Sorcerer's Stone. Dumbledore is the greatest wizard of the century. If he truly wanted to protect that stone, he would have sealed it with magic that only a wizard of his caliber could break. Instead, we see a 3-headed dog that falls asleep to music, Devil's Snare, a first-year herbology plant, flying keys, and a game of chess. This wasn't security for a priceless artifact. This was a custom-made obstacle course designed specifically for the talents of 3 children, Hermione, Ron, and Harry. Dumbledore effectively left the door unlocked, inviting an 11-year-old boy to his first mortal combat. The most cynical moment of the first year was Dumbledore's sudden trip to London on the very night the stone was at risk. He knew Quirrell was going for it. He knew Harry would follow. To leave at that moment is like leaving a loaded gun in a room with a child and walking out the door. He needed Harry to face his parents' killer alone, to test if Lily Potter's ancient protection actually worked. Dumbledore used an 11-year-old boy as a lab rat to confirm his theories. The most chilling part is what happened after the battle. Harry is only 11. He just turned a man to ash with his bare hands. In any normal school, the police and a team of therapists would have been called immediately. But what does Dumbledore do? He visits the hospital wing, eats some candy, and tells Harry he did a good job. An hour later, he throws a feast where he rewards the children in front of the entire school for breaking every rule and nearly dying. That night, Dumbledore planted one simple, terrifying thought in Harry's head. Your life doesn't matter. The rules don't matter. Only the win matters, and I will praise you even if you almost die for it. This isn't education. It's military training. At 11 years old, Harry Potter stopped being a child. He became a recruit in a war whose rules were never explained to him. In the second year, Dumbledore moved from simple testing to actual psychological terror. Let's look at the facts. The Chamber of Secrets had been opened 50 years prior. Dumbledore was already a teacher then. He knew Hagrid was innocent. He knew Tom Riddle was a Parselmouth and a manipulator. Do you really believe that the greatest wizard of the century in 50 years couldn't find an entrance located in a girl's bathroom? He knew where it was. He knew who opened it. Yet, he allowed a basilisk to crawl through the pipes for months, turning students into stone.
The Chamber of Secrets has been opened. Enemies of the air, beware. It's written in blood.
Dumbledore didn't close the school. He didn't call in experts from the ministry. He simply watched as panic filled the hallways. He needed Harry to start hearing the voices. He was waiting for Harry to find the entrance himself, to see if his chosen one could face an ancient evil alone. The cruelest part of this year was how Dumbledore allowed the entire school to hate Harry. When it was revealed that Harry could speak Parseltongue, everyone thought he was the heir of Slytherin. Children feared him. His friends doubted him. Where was Dumbledore? He could have walked into the Great Hall at any second and ended the rumors. He could have explained that the gift of tongues doesn't make a person evil, but he stayed silent. He intentionally allowed Harry to fall into total isolation. Now, look at the finale. Harry goes down into the chamber. Facing him is a giant basilisk and the shadow of the most dangerous dark wizard. What does Dumbledore do? He doesn't go to help. He doesn't send teachers. He sends a bird and an old hat. Think about that. He sent Fawkes the Phoenix just to watch a child get hunted by a serpent. Yes, there was a sword inside the hat, but to get it, Harry had to prove his loyalty to Dumbledore. This wasn't a rescue mission, it was a loyalty test. Dumbledore effectively said, "If you believe in me enough, you will live. If not, you die." He risked a child's life to confirm his theory about the connection between Harry and Voldemort, and when Harry, bleeding from the venom, killed the snake, Dumbledore just smiled again. His experiment confirmed it. Harry wasn't just a weapon, he was a weapon completely devoted to his puppet master. Harry's third year began with the school surrounded by Dementors. Dumbledore publicly protested their presence, but let's ask the real question. Why did he allow it? He is the only man the Ministry fears. He could have forbidden them from coming anywhere near his students. Instead, he let them stand at the gates. He knew that Harry fainted, hearing his mother's dying screams every time those creatures were near. For any other child, this would be unbearable psychological torture, but for Dumbledore, it was an opportunity. He watched as a 13-year-old Harry learned to cast a Patronus. He needed Harry to master high-level defensive magic as early as possible. The most insane moment of the franchise is the finale of the third year. Sirius Black is locked in a tower, facing the Dementor's kiss. Dumbledore knows Sirius is innocent. He is the headmaster, the chief warlock, and a grand sorcerer. He has enough political power to stop the execution with a single word. But what does he tell 13-year-old Hermione and Harry?
I do, Miss Granger, but I'm sorry to say the word of 3 13-year-old wizards will convince few others.
Instead of taking responsibility, he hands children a time turner and says, "You have 3 hours. Save him and don't get caught or you'll be expelled." Think about the cynicism here. He forces children to risk their souls, to break the laws of physics and politics, just to fix his own failure. This is a form of psychological abuse where an adult shifts their burden onto a child. Dumbledore just wanted to keep his hands clean. If the kids were caught, he'd just shrug. If they succeeded, he gained a loyal ally in Sirius without lifting a finger. Why did Dumbledore need Harry to be the one to save Sirius, to create another attachment? Now, Harry has a godfather who owes him his life. But notice, Dumbledore still doesn't let Harry live with Sirius. He sends him right back to the Dursleys. Sirius stays on the run. Harry stays in the cupboard. Dumbledore gives Harry a glimpse of family, then immediately takes it away, leaving him with nothing but letters. It's the perfect way to keep Harry in a state of constant emotional hunger. He gives him just enough love so he doesn't break, but not enough to make him feel safe, because safe children don't grow up to be soldiers. Soldiers grow in a perpetual struggle for the right to be happy, and Dumbledore was the one controlling the faucet of that happiness. Harry's 4th year. His name emerges from the Goblet of Fire.
Harry Potter. Harry Potter!
He is 14 years old, forced to compete against adult wizards in deadly trials. Dumbledore says, "We have no choice, it's a binding magical contract." Let's be logical. Do you really believe an old cup has authority over him? If he wanted to save Harry, he would have found a way. He could have simply forbidden Harry from entering the arena. What would the goblet do? Kill him? Strip his magic? We'll never know, because Dumbledore didn't even try. He used that contract as a perfect excuse to throw Harry into the fire again. The tournament wasn't a competition, it was a testing ground for his ultimate weapon. For an entire year, a Death Eater lives right under Dumbledore's nose. Barty Crouch Jr. spends months pretending to be Alastair Moody, one of Dumbledore's oldest friends. We are told Albus just didn't notice. Seriously? The greatest legilimens, a man who reads minds like an open book, didn't sense a fake? He didn't notice his old friend acting strange and constantly drinking from a suspicious flask? Dumbledore needed that imposter. He needed someone to guide Harry to the finish line. He needed someone to turn the cup into a portkey. Dumbledore knew Voldemort was planning a return, and he chose not to interfere. He allowed the enemy to execute their plan, using Harry as the bait on a hook.
Something I should have foreseen. But no matter. Things have changed.
And now, the darkest part, the death of Cedric Diggory. Many see it as a tragic accident, but for Dumbledore, it was an acceptable loss. He knew something horrific would happen at that graveyard. He knew Harry would return broken. When Harry reappeared with Cedric's body, Dumbledore didn't rush to the grieving parents first. He rushed to Harry. He needed to confirm his theory that Voldemort had taken Harry's blood, unintentionally tethering Harry's life to his own. Dumbledore used Cedric's death to finally turn Harry into a martyr. From that moment on, Harry had no choice. He became the chosen one, not by prophecy, but by Dumbledore's design. The headmaster got exactly what he wanted, a returned enemy and a shattered hero who was now completely dependent on his every word.
Now, the pain we all feel at this dreadful loss reminds me...
Harry's 5th year is the ultimate example of how Dumbledore breaks a person. Imagine, Harry has just witnessed Voldemort's return and the death of a friend. The press is calling him a liar, the ministry is hunting him, and nightmares plague his sleep. He needs his mentor more than ever. What does Dumbledore do? He vanishes. He forbids Harry's friends from writing to him all summer. He refuses to look him in the eye for the entire school year. He ignores Harry, even as Umbridge literally tortures him in her office. Dumbledore claims he did this to protect Harry from Voldemort's influence, but in reality, this was deliberate isolation. He drove a 15-year-old boy into deep depression and rage to make him feel completely alone, because a person who has nothing left but their leader is the perfect martyr. A soldier with nothing to lose is the only one who won't hesitate when the time comes to die. After a year of cold silence, Dumbledore abruptly changes tactics in The Half-Blood Prince. Suddenly, Harry is his partner. He invites him to private lessons, shares secrets, and takes him on dangerous missions. This is a classic manipulator's move. First, strip a person of everything, then give them a crumb of special status. Harry is thrilled. He feels chosen. He is ready to do anything for the headmaster. But look at what Dumbledore is teaching him. He isn't teaching him combat spells or advanced defense. He's forcing him to watch memories of Tom Riddle's childhood. He isn't training him to be a survivor. He's training him to be a soul hunter, knowing that at the end of the hunt, Harry must sacrifice himself. Dumbledore wasn't preparing Harry for a life after the war. He was preparing him for a spectacular exit. The scene in the cave is the peak of Albus Dumbledore's cynicism. He forces Harry to feed him poison. He screams, he begs Harry to stop, yet Harry, weeping, must keep pouring the potion down his throat. Dumbledore intentionally bound Harry to this oath. He forced a child to become the cause of his suffering. And finally, Dumbledore's death on the astronomy tower. He forced Harry to stand and watch him die. Dumbledore planned it all, his own death by Snape's hand, Harry's shock, and his thirst for revenge. He left a 16-year-old with an impossible task and a shattered heart. But that was exactly the goal. A broken, traumatized, and revenge-driven Harry is the only Harry who will walk into the Forbidden Forest and not be afraid to die. Dumbledore didn't just die. He turned his death into the final, most powerful trigger for his weapon. Let's analyze Dumbledore's will. Most fans see it as a collection of wise clues, but if you look at it objectively, it's a kit for someone who isn't expected to return. He gives Hermione a book of fairy tales because he knew her skepticism. He knew she would slow Harry down, preventing him from becoming obsessed with the Hallows too early. To Ron, he gives the Deluminator. This is his most cynical gift. Dumbledore calculated in advance that Ron would crack under the pressure and abandon Harry. He didn't believe in Ron. He planned for his betrayal and gave him a leash to find his way back. Dumbledore was manipulating their friendship from beyond the grave, turning their emotions into mechanical gears in his machine.
You complete hard-boiled Weasley!
And now, the detail I promised, the golden snitch with the inscription, "I open at the close." Inside was the resurrection stone. Think about this. Dumbledore could have given Harry the stone directly. He could have provided a shield, a weapon, or a real plan. Instead, he sealed the stone inside a device that only reacts to skin contact and, more importantly, only opens when Harry accepts his own death. This wasn't a gift. It was a psychological lock. Dumbledore effectively told Harry, "You can only have comfort. You can only see your dead parents when you agree to die." He made Harry crave death by making it the only way to be reunited with his family. Dumbledore didn't leave Harry a chance at life. He left him the perfect conditions to ensure he wouldn't turn back at the last second. At the end of the saga, we see a victory. But whose victory was it, really? Harry Potter survived only by pure chance and a stroke of magic that even Dumbledore couldn't fully predict. Harry didn't defeat Voldemort as a free man. He simply fulfilled a death sentence that Dumbledore handed him the night he left him on that cold doorstep in Little Whinging. Albus Dumbledore is the man who won a war without ever getting his own hands dirty. He used love, friendship, and childhood trauma as mechanical components in a clockwork plan. Let me know in the comments. Do you still see Dumbledore as a hero, or was he actually the most successful villain of the story? I'll see you in the next investigation.